So the Dallas Cowboys are now approaching the postseason once again, and with it, they are making some roster moves. They've let go of James Washington, and they have a cavalry of guys coming back to hopefully help this team perform better in certain departments. With that being said, we're going to dive into what these moves mean for the Cowboys and how it can help them moving forward. With that being said, let's dive into it. So look, the Dallas Cowboys have to make some moves as Jonathan Hankins is coming back. And of course, LVE will be coming back. And apparently we're going to get Tyler Biadasz coming back. Albeit we don't know because of that high ankle sprain. But based off of the optimism that the front office loves to show when it comes to injuries, even though we know they have a terrible track record with it, they're claiming that these guys should be back for the wild card game. Or if the Cowboys get the number one seed, then they most likely will be back for the divisional round as well. However, the Cowboys had a casualty that they had to make, and that was James Washington. Now, the reason why this is a little bit bigger than people understand is that James Washington getting cut further shows that the Cowboys are going to be running with CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, and T.Y. Hilton. Now you have guys like Jalen Tolbert, Simi Fehoko, Dennis Houston. You got those guys behind them. So odds are you're not going to see those guys a lot, but just to show you, the Cowboys with T.Y. Hilton showing what he can be, have their wide receiving core going into the postseason. They got Lamb, Gallup, and Hilton. And look, I don't mind that. I think that Hilton is a very damn good piece that the Cowboys added because of the fact that he's able to convert third downs for you. Then you look at Gallup and I say to myself, listen, I need him to make some plays here and there, right? And I understand that there's going to be moments where opportunities present themselves to others. Like if Lamb's open and you're throwing this guy the ball, who gives a damn, right? That as long as the offense is moving. T.Y. Hilton, he's going to be huge in converting third downs, but with Gallup, he's made some plays here and there, right? I'm not going to lie and say that the guy hasn't made plays, but I think we're trying to look for someone to emerge as wide receiver too, and right now it looks like T.Y. Hilton is kind of becoming that, while Gallup is kind of still trying to get his feet under him after the injury from last season. And look, I understand that stuff happens, but Gallup needs to emerge as a more serious threat so that this whole thing can start rolling. And the good part is, with the wide receiving core you have, and really you look at Dak Prescott, and Dak Prescott's playing at a much better level at this point than he was last season. And I know people might think I'm crazy for saying that because of how many interceptions he's thrown, which again, not all 14 are on him, by the way, but he's not playing like he's wavering of not wanting to do certain things, or he can't throw certain ways. Like, he doesn't care. Like, he's throwing the ball, and he's not afraid to throw the ball. And that's important. That was very important, and we'll hope that going forward that's going to be a difference maker. Now, moving on to the guys coming back. Let's start off with Jonathan Hankins. Jonathan Hankins is a huge return for the Cowboys because of what he means for this run defense. When the Cowboys added him in here, and, really before he was lost to injury in that Houston game, I believe it was, the Dallas Cowboys were holding opponents to around 3.6 yards per carry, and then when he left, it went up a whole yard. It went to around 4.6, and the reason why that's a big thing there is because you're going to need to be able to stop the run on these teams and then let your pass defense do their thing. I mean, that's just really how it is, because when you look at the teams in front of you, you look at a Green Bay, you look at a Tampa Bay, you look at all these other teams, right? You are going to need to be able to stop the run and force them to throw, so then you can, get sacks, get takeaways. And Dallas has been doing that. They've been getting a ton of takeaways. It's just they haven't been getting home. And this is where I think the Cowboys are going to benefit also, not from Hankins just coming back, but LVE. Now listen, LVE hasn't been the greatest guy, but he's been super important, and we saw that after he left the Jacksonville game. And the reason why it's super important is because when we were up 27-10, around that period of time, and he was in there, we were doing just fine. When he left, the linebackers were getting killed, and as a result, it's really impacting how we're able to do things defensively. So him coming back is huge for this Cowboys defense. And I'm really excited to have him back so that we have a full rotation of linebackers and that we're not getting screwed over in entire, instance there. And then look, the biggest one of all is Tyler Biadasz. Right now, the Dallas Cowboys are able to kind of hold this thing down for one game, but with Tyler Biadasz being able to come back for the wild card game after a high ankle sprain would be huge. Now, granted, that's a 3 to 4 week injury, depending on the grade and severity, but the fact that he's able to come back is very, very critical because now the Dallas Cowboys are going to be able to have all their guys there. And, I want to make it clear, there might be a possibility, because I understand they want to be super optimistic with it, there is a possibility that he does not play in the wild card game, which, is that okay? I mean, we'll see, because you will probably have to be in a situation where you're going with Jason Peters, Tyler Smith, Connor McGovern, Zach Martin, and Tyron Smith. Like, you might have to end up going with that. And that's okay with me. Listen, if it's just for one game, that's okay. But, you kind of have to say, because there's been the conversation, right? Hey, can Jason Peters go a whole game? Is he out of shape? What's going on there? I think he can be just fine. And realistically, guys, I think that the best course of action for the Cowboys, apparently they're adding Matt Farniak in from the whole injury stuff like that. I understand that he's been quiet, but I think Farniak showed that he can be something for a little bit, right? So if you're trying to do this rotation crap, which I hope they're not, I think Farniak coming in here playing guard is cool, for a couple plays. So with that being said, what exactly is to be of what's happening now? Like, what are we expecting to happen moving forward? So with James Washington gone, you should see for the first game, with Washington, with them going out on the field for a game that really is like, whatever, they might elevate a corner or something like that for that game. But what you should see is then in the next week, regardless of where Dallas is, you should see Jonathan Hankins coming back from the injury. Then you should see LVE ready to go. Then Tyler Biadasz, we'll see how things go from there. But this is huge, guys. The cavalry's coming back for the Cowboys. And as we get closer, we're one more game left. And we are going to see where our Cowboys will be slated in the tournament after the events that unfold Sunday. Again, you are going to be taking a look at 3 games, all of which are happening at the same time, right? You're going to have Cowboys at Washington, you're going to have Giants at Eagles, and then I believe the 49ers play the Cardinals at home. So you have a lot of going on there. If we have things go our way, we could be the 1 seed. If things don't go our way, but we can get the division, we'll be the number 2 seed. And if nothing goes our way, we're going on the road to Tampa. With all that being said, guys, I do hope you enjoyed this video. And with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one, guys. Goodbye.